Well, what's really great about what you've done, it illustrates a point that I make all the time when I'm teaching people about building an online business or an online brand. And that is, and I heard the advice years ago, over a decade ago. I don't remember who first said it, maybe Pat Flynn. But the idea that if you want to build a brand, you want to be the cross point of two different niches or two different cohorts or whatever groups of people. So you have, real estate investing and you have military. So if you were just like, hey, I'm the military guy, I can help you grow, like be good at the military. Okay, that's just so general. Everyone's like, I don't need help in the military. If you're like, hey, I can help you with real estate investing, it's just so general. There's so many people doing it, whatever. I'm the guy who helps military people invest in real estate. All of a sudden, oh, you're my guy. Even at the point where you can get too niche. You can be like, I help military people who are into real estate and also, photography. Okay, well now there's only a few of them probably, Alex.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to help. Yeah, you don't want to help that guy. But you can get too niche. But between two cross points of large groups of people, there's massive opportunity. So you can be like, I'm the guy who helps people with gay travel. Great. There's a lot of people who are gay and there's a lot of people who like travel. You're the middle. You're going to get people to follow you.
My brother would jump right on that.
Right on that. Okay, good. Yeah. There's a million. So if you're thinking about how do I get followers? How do I get a fan base? Whatever you want to call that, an audience, a platform. I like that word. It's like, what can you be the cross point of two things? And so yeah, I think you just nailed that really well. Is the military to millionaire. It's like you even put it in your name. It's like those are the two things. I was real estate in your 20s, right? Before I was Bigger Pockets, it was real estate in your 20s. It was like young people, real estate. Hey, that's the guy. That's my guy.
Well, I cheated on creating that niche because there was this guy who's telling me it's a great idea who helped give me the idea. So, but. Well,
it worked out really, it seemed to have worked out well for you.
Great advice.
It also demonstrates this point that there's a great blog article from over a decade ago called 1,000 True Fans. Have you heard of this one?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so the idea of 1,000 True Fans is that, I can't remember who wrote it, Kevin Kelly maybe, I think wrote it years ago. People can Google it and they'll find it. Tim Ferriss talks a lot about it, but it's like if you only had 1,000 people in the entire world that cared about you and your cross point of niches or whatever, you can have financial freedom from that, or at least have a full-time income. And he says like 1,000 people giving you $100 a year. That's it, just $100 a year. 1,000 people, $100 a year is $100,000 a year income. So he uses it, say if you're a band and you have 1,000 people who like would buy whatever product you put out there, your CD, your album, your t-shirts, whatever, and you can make just on average $100 per customer, that's $100,000 a year. And what's great about that is when you have 8 billion people on the planet, can you find 1,000 people that are in your weird little world? Even photographers, real estate photographers who like to get in shape. Like if that was your thing, I guarantee you there's 1,000 of them in America of real estate photographers who care a lot about fitness. There's
only one, baby. There's only one. Stop trying to be me.
You're not unique.
The point being, I mean, Alex, you and I have talked a lot about this as you're thinking like starting when you're working on it, it's kind of like a group. I don't even call it mastermind. Maybe that's even too deep, but like a group for the guys who make the guys like me look good. So the creative directors of podcasters and YouTubers.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, there's thousands of guys just like you who are behind the camera making us look good. Why not get those guys together? Because who else is doing it? Nobody is. Cross point of several niches.
Oh, and that niche is going to blow up over.
That niche is going to blow up. Yeah. So
everybody wants an Alex these days.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
How did I get lucky?
If you knew how many job offers I got,
lucky enough, I stuck him with you. I was like, all right, no.
Yeah, you get out of here. Yeah, you should leave.
Dave asked me, he's like,
Stockholm
what would it cost you to come move to Missouri? And I'm like, you literally cannot afford to get me to Missouri.
I mean, yeah, Maui's a bigger draw, I think, than Missouri.
Maui does help.
Alex, we have 4 seasons every week.
Yes. But yeah, so I love the idea of 1,000 True Fans. If you can pick your thing and then find a way to monetize that thing as you've done, you can make a full-time living off of part-time work on the internet. And it doesn't have to be blog, it doesn't have to be YouTube, it doesn't have to be podcast, it doesn't have to be mastermind. It can be any of them or a million other things. You can sell, I have a friend who sells crystals. Like she has a Instagram account that sells crystals and she talks about crystals and then she sells crystals and makes good income off selling crystals. Like that's random. I wouldn't buy it, but there's 1,000 people out there who buy it, much more than that. So anyway, just encouragement to people who are listening to this is, look at what Dave did. You can do what Dave did. It's doable.
Probably better than how Dave did.
Well, what lessons have you learned in that are maybe like, oh, I wouldn't do this again. If I was going to do this all over again, making money online, I would do this differently.
More.
What do you mean?
I would produce so much more content. I mean, I was consistent, and I think I did. I mean, I've got 1,000 videos on YouTube.
Wow.
Some of them are shorts, they don't really count, but because it's a video from another video. But I've got over 1,000 videos on YouTube. I would put that at 2,000 or 3,000. I mean, if I had doubled and tripled down on content earlier, blogging and SEO, and just really worked on titles and thumbnails and improved the quality, not just the quantity. I mean, sky's the limit with content. It scales infinitely. If I'd brought an editor in and a copywriter in earlier, I think that would be what I do. I would have focused on like, hey, this is what's really going to help. So I'm going to do, outsource some of the other things and really focus on the part that I'm good at and do even more content.
Is YouTube where most people find you, or where do they find you?
At this point, probably the Facebook group. So we've got a Facebook group with 64,000 people in it now. So I'd say that's the main. I mean, I've got, all the other platforms and probably 250,000 followers around wherever, but the Facebook's the one. Facebook does this great thing where if you have a Facebook group that's really engaging, Facebook themselves is like, oh, people like this place. We're going to promote it to people that are like the people who are already in there. And so it does all the work for you. It's great.
That's fascinating. I do not have a Facebook group, but maybe we should have a Facebook group. We go back and forth with Alex all the time. It's like I don't need more things to do and more business places people for them to find me. Like they can go to a million places, but there is a lot of value. I see the value of a Facebook group. I got to look more into that. What have you found has worked in Facebook groups? Starting a Facebook group. What's been your secret to success there, in case people want to follow you?
Yeah. Well, I have a 90-minute video where I actually dug into. I got this question a lot.
Yeah.
So I made like a 90-minute presentation in my mastermind that was like soup to nuts, how to start a Facebook group, the settings you should have, and everything. So happy to throw that in show notes. I get nothing out of it but a YouTube watch. So
I love it, man. We will definitely do that. So
I would say the biggest thing is engagement, community. If you keep people engaging, Facebook will bring people back. So good content, ask questions, engage with people. You can find like who the most engaging members are, show them off. Every now and then I'll post like, hey, this person, thank you. You were the most engaging person for the month of October or whatever. Like here's and sometimes I send them a gift card or something. But I mean, realistically, it's just trying to produce decent content and facilitating answers for people with questions.
All right, man. I'm going to do a segment next called Fill in the Blank. It's where I say something with some blanks in it, and you guys got to repeat after me and fill in the blank. So, number one, if I lost everything today and needed to become a millionaire again, I would blank.
If I lost everything today and I needed to become a millionaire again, I would form a community and just help as many people in that community find what they want to achieve. And I know that sounds super like simple and cliche, but essentially like find something you're passionate about that you're good enough at. You don't have to be the expert, but good enough at that you can talk to people educated about it. Find those people, pull them together, and create a forum essentially for them to share thoughts and ideas and whatever. And as you go, just create more content. I think with a cell phone, you can create $1 million business.
Dude, great answer. All right, next one. If I was just joining the military to set me up for a great financial future, I would what?
If I was just joining the military today to set me up for financial future, I would not buy a Camaro or a Mustang at 28% interest. I would put 10 or 20% into my thrift savings plan. So while you're at recruit training, they ask you if you want to contribute to it's our 401k, TSP, and they have a 5% match, which is great. While you're at boot camp, they ask you, hey, do you want to do this? Great. The answer is yes. How much do you want to contribute? 10 or 20%? Because if you take it out right away and you never see it, you don't even know it's missing. And then every time you get a pay raise, you put 2%, 1% in there. Before you know it, you're putting 20, 25% of your paycheck in, and you're still living on the same amount that you always were. So it doesn't hurt. In fact, if you only put 1% in every pay raise, you're living on more than when you first started. And that 401k will take care of everything in life down the road. If you do that for a few years, then you know your retirement is covered, which allows you to take risks when it comes to real estate or entrepreneurship. Because it's like, look, I'm in the military, so I'm not going to lose my job right now. If I fail at whatever this endeavor is, my retirement's already covered. So I'm not hurting the end, and I've got the beginning covered with this job. So you can take those risks to go big. And I think that's, you start using the VA loan to house hack, and I mean, that's the beginning. Yeah.
That's brilliant, man. I actually really like that a lot. I think that it's almost like you're playing with house money at that point.
Yeah.
Like you go to the casino and you win $100, you put in $100, you double it, you make 200, put the $100 away in your pocket, because now like your retirement's covered.
Yeah.
I've said that often actually early on in my career. I bought like 1 or 2 houses like early on, and I was like, okay, if I do nothing else my entire life, I've got $1 million net worth someday, because like these 2 properties or whatever will go up to over $1 million. I'll pay them off over the next 30 years. So by the time I'm 60, or even at the time I was like, by the time I'm 50, because I was like 20 when I bought them, or 22, I was like, I'll be a millionaire. So no matter what, as long as I don't lose these now, as long as I can manage them, I'm set for life.
That's it.
And that adds so much freedom to your life, just knowing that. Yeah. So yeah, I love that you said that. All right, next one. Well, let me think of a good one here. Yeah, here we go. The best tips I have for people getting out of the military and looking to transition into civilian life is blank.
The best tips I have for people getting out of the military and looking at transitioning into civilian life: spend time before you exit the military figuring out who you are. Like, really focus on your identity outside of the military, what you're passionate about, what you're good at, your zone of genius, if you will, right? Like where your passion intersects your performance. And I mean, getting out's not easy, right? So create a community of people, like just friends, whoever, that you can talk to. It's not an easy process, but if you know who you are outside of the military, it'll be easier. If you have a purpose, it'll be easier. And you don't have to have all the answers for your purpose. Just have something that you enjoy dabbling in, a project, if you will, that is like passion, you know, your purpose, whatever. And surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to achieve. So, you know, find good people, improve your network, and just hang out with them, and you'll be fine.
That's great, man. I was just talking about this yesterday with a dude about how getting out of like his job, I think he was a police officer, and he was asking me like, what tips do I have for getting out and going into real estate full time? And I said, he's already kind of done the right thing in that he's shifted his identity, or he's shifting it from police officer to real estate investor before getting out. Because what happens is people get out of something, whether it's the military, being a cop, they own a business, they sell it, and then that identity is dropped, especially for men, right? Like our identities are wrapped in our careers. Yeah. And all of a sudden you have no identity because you have no career, and you're just floundering for years. Yeah. We've all known people like that.
Terrible.
It's a terrible position. So when you rebuild that identity, or you build that identity first by surrounding yourself with those people, by becoming a real estate investor. The advice I gave the guy was stop telling people you're a cop. Start telling people you're a real estate investor until you believe it. Like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a real estate investor. Oh, I also do, I do some police officer stuff on the side. Like, just like make that and say it enough until you believe that my primary identity is a real estate person, or is whatever the thing is going to be. And the military or the career, that's a small thing that I'm just getting done with. I think that, I think you hit the nail on the head there. You got to get around people first. Otherwise, it's a scary spot to be in.
Yep. And if you don't know what to do, use your GI Bill and go to college for free while you figure it out.
Oof. There you go.
Boom.
All right. Related to that, can you talk about the Skills Bridge program a little bit, both from a standpoint of for military people, but also for maybe entrepreneurs who need cheap labor or cheap help? How does that work? What's pros and cons of it? How does it work?
Yeah, it's not slave labor. It's like the next best thing. It's free. So, so SkillBridge is this really cool program that the military has where up to 6 months prior to your exit, you can go and essentially be an intern for another company. And one of the stipulations from the employer side is you're not allowed to pay them. You can want to pay them all you want, but you have to sign something like, I will not pay this person. So some people give like a sign-on bonus at the end of the 6 months or whatever, but you can go. I mean, they've got SkillBridge programs. They've got one at the White House. They've got Microsoft. They've got Apple, tech. They've got whatever. They've got real estate brokerages. They've got all kinds of locations where you can, hey, I want to learn this skill. I can go here and intern for 6 months. The military is going to pay you, and whatever pay you were receiving, your what we call TAD, temporary assigned duty. And so if you were making $3,000 a month in San Diego housing allowance, and you moved to Missouri for your SkillBridge, you're still getting the housing allowance. Now, conversely, if you are stationed in Missouri, you SkillBridge in San Diego, you might be a little bit rougher. But they'll pay you essentially to go do this internship. And you're learning the skill, and at the end, the idea is you have a job offer if you like it, and you can take it, leave it, or you learn a skill, take it, leave it. So from the employee standpoint, you get all this experience, and you get to really kind of start transitioning into the civilian world before the final exit, and be really, really prepared. And then for the employer, you get a usually pretty high caliber employee for free that you can train, and there's no risk, because if they don't get along, 6 months is up. They go do their thing, and if they're crushing it for you, you make a good offer, and you've already seen them work for 6 months. Yeah. I mean, I know you like the intern model for hiring people.
Yeah,
so.
I've done a lot of internships. I have not done SkillsBridge yet, but 100% want to, and I always talk about it. I know there's like some kind of waiting period right now, or I think it's a little bit longer to get in right now.
It's hard to get onto their program now.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely something people should look into because it's a win-win for everybody. So
I've had 4 SkillBridge interns, and I was a SkillBridge intern on my way out. So phenomenal program.
That's awesome, man.